It's Andrea here with the first episode of Real Talk with Dr. Bird. I just wanted to hop on real quick. Been seeing a lot of things lately that I think need to be addressed and talked about a little bit more about the natural health kind of culture of having to follow all these strict rules or metrics in order to obtain so-called health, especially the need for these comparison type games, the programming of who's doing it best, who's handling all these demands placed on themselves better, when in reality their body may just be asking for more rest. But they're still trying to do numerous things to get those cortisol levels down. Well, what truly gets cortisol down? Cortisol isn't the issue, the stress is. So if you're constantly placing these further demands on yourself, oh, I have to lift weights. Oh, I have to make sure I eat these, have to keep track of my macros and all this stuff and do this and that and that. That's just placing more stress on yourself, honestly. And I feel like this isn't addressed enough. If you're working all day, you don't want to have to come home and do a whole bunch of stuff other than the responsibilities that you naturally have to take care of, like if you have kids, that kind of stuff. And it could be as simple as, okay, before bed, I'm going to take a nice relaxing bath. Okay, that's self-care. I don't think we have to go above and beyond a lot of what these health coaches and natural health practitioners are describing, doing 10 different things a day in order to, this is what we have to do to be healthy. Not necessarily. I stopped my practice in the local office that I had it in. Decided that was no longer in alignment. Why? Because I felt it in my body. My body was gaining a bunch of weight, having lots of headaches, having lots of different issues. So I said, okay, it's time to make a change. So when you get these symptoms, all you have to do is, okay, what's in alignment? What do I need to shift? Most of the time it's our beliefs, the lifestyle. So there was something that needed to be different for me. So what I did, took a little time off, reflected on my beliefs again. A lot of it has to do with the introspection, reflecting on certain things that you're believing about yourself, believing about how life is supposed to be lived. A lot of those, if you zoom out and look at it from multiple perspectives, that alone can shift a lot of physical stuff. People don't realize that a lot of these physical issues, they aren't just from your physical everyday reality about what you're eating. You could be eating the healthiest things, and if you think terrible thoughts about yourself or have beliefs that this is the only way that you can live, then that could be causing the physical issues. So for a lot of these natural health practitioners who say that you need to make sure you're lifting weights or exercising 30 minutes a day or an hour or whatever it is, and make sure you're eating this food group, this food group, this food group, and these specific macros, and you have to do it that way or else your hormones aren't going to be good, your neurotransmitters. And honestly, those chemicals or chemical reactions are the absolute last chain of what happens in reality. All before that is the energetics of things, the emotions, the mental, the beliefs, those all dictate what your physical reality is going to look like. So even if you do change your diet or lifting weights, if you're not dealing with your beliefs about certain things, about yourself, about life in general, if you're not allowing yourself to feel those emotions, you don't have to become the sadness, but you can feel through that. So that emotion is just energy that wants to move through the body. It's not you. You don't have to cling to it. You don't have to use it as a crutch for anything or an identity. All you want to do is let that emotion move through you. So for someone to constantly say that you have to do these specific things, that's not necessarily true. A lot of times if someone's in dorsal shutdown or freeze mode, or their nervous system is dysfunctional, not regulated, they're not going to be able to do a lot of these physical things, because when you place demands on someone who is in those states, it just shuts them down further, because they don't feel safe in their body, their environment. Safety isn't there, trust isn't there. Those things need to be addressed first before placing certain recommendations or almost like demands on these individuals or clients. So if you have a dysregulated nervous system, a lot of those physical things that you do in making lifestyle changes aren't necessarily going to help. And rest is a huge piece of a lot of this stuff, just because our environment and world a lot of times is very stressful. So, and you can add more stress onto yourself by how you believe. So if you believe that healing is possible and that you kind of are in the driver's seat of how you want to experience life, then you're going to have quite a head start on working through those things that you're experiencing. So if you see certain health coaches, health gurus, health practitioners, holistic practitioners, whatever label that they give themselves, saying that this is what they do in a day, please don't feel like you have to compare yourself to that, because it's not necessarily true for you. And a lot of times they're doing it to get clients. Like, here's what I can do for you. Try this and it will work for you too, like it did for me. A lot of times it's a sales pitch. So just be aware of that too. Sorry, I'm looking on my phone at my notes. If I don't take notes, I'll forget what I want to say. And a lot of times these coaches or practitioners will say, well, if you aren't doing this, and working at every area of the holistic factors, then it's not enough. So, but a lot of times our bodies are screaming for rest because we're go, go, go. And especially when you're in that dorsal vagal shutdown or the freeze mode, you're not really going to be able to go, go, go. So you have to listen to the body. And I think it's really essential. A lot of, even in the natural health field, people want to discount the cues of their body. Like, oh, you have to drink 8 glasses of water. Well, what if your body doesn't want 8 glasses of water? it's not the water. It's water doesn't hydrate you. It's the minerals and electrolytes in the body that hydrate you. So just everything is assumed, and these metrics are placed on people, and a lot of them aren't true. So to kind of go back to making things simple again, simplicity allows people to kind of de-stress. Things don't have to be complicated. The human mind makes things very complicated, and we feel like we have to be squeezed into a certain box or else we aren't good enough, we're not doing the right things. But when I decided to live more in alignment with that truth resonance, the harmony of my own path, then the weight started coming off. I started feeling better, having more energy. And this is simply, I didn't do a lot. I made a little bit of tweaks in my diet, eating a lot more protein and fats. And then walking every now and then, but I find myself resting a lot. And I just don't place all those demands on myself and feel like I have to portray myself in a certain way in order for me to get clients. Chasing things down, chasing leads, hosting certain group things or fairs, or like I don't have to do that. So all of that allowed me to lose 33 pounds fairly quick, and I'm still going. So you really don't have to do a lot to regain your health. And I think people need to hear that more, because when they hear that a lot of practitioners want them to do this, and this, and make it so complex, it kind of steers people away because of those demands that are placed on them in an already demanding world or life experience. It's not something that's beneficial. So, okay, and another thing that I've noticed in the holistic field is that a lot of practitioners have not gone through their own awakening process, their own questioning of how they've been conditioned. So if they don't question why they think the way they do, or if they simply regurgitate what has been told to them through their educational programs and not question certain things from their own experience of doing things, then it's basically what I see it as. It's a structure that's very fragile, and it doesn't work. It may work for a little bit, but people usually come to a wall and say, okay, this isn't working for me anymore, because they haven't addressed a lot of the root causes. Even in the naturopathic field, what they say is a root cause, it's not. A lot of these, the yeasts and the parasites, they think that's the root cause. That's the cleanup crew. The root cause comes way before that, and it's usually a toxin, either a physical toxin, a mental toxin, how you believe, or an emotional toxin, trauma. Something allowed the body to get out of alignment in the first place, because if you look into the pleomorphic cycle of microbes, they're there to help clean the body up. They're not pathogens. Same with parasites. And I kind of feel that the parasites belong somewhere in that pleomorphic stage process of microbes. because a healthy soil has bacteria, it has parasites. Some of the healthiest soils have parasites because they're the ones cleaning up the heavy metals and the toxins. Um, they clean up the dead waste. If we didn't have those in our body would quickly deteriorate and die. So even the funguses, they're the ones that eat up the dead tissue. So if you have a foot fungus, then there's something there's some reason why the tissue is dying, and the fungus is there to help clean up that tissue and restore the skin and the tissue back to balance. So for us to just go in and give even natural antifungal supplements and antiparasitics, this whole your body, the life being that you are, I just feel like we need to move in a completely different direction. Your body knows what it's doing. It's doing it before you even realize it. Any symptoms or what a lot of people, society, cause sickness or illness is your body actually coming back into balance. Your body's taking care of things. Snot, phlegm that you cough up, vomiting, diarrhea. Your body's getting the stuff out that needs to be out of the body. It's not something attacking you. So I think we have to get away from that paradigm in order to actually step back into our power and truly live life again. We don't need to live in fear. The body knows what it's doing. Even I had a client yesterday who on his electrodermal scan coming up, there was some minerals and vitamins, stressors that were coming up. And I asked his body if this is something that we need to address. And it was a clear no, this isn't something that we need to address. So there were certain minerals that are higher in his body because his body is going through a detox process. So these minerals need to be high. And even if you read, I'm blanking, Walter Russell, the periodic table of elements, how they have it in the scientific chemistry books, is it's very linear. And it's actually not that way. Nothing is really linear, or as it seems. So it's more of a spiral vortex. And what happens, everything is based on harmonics, octaves, tones, frequencies. So what happens is our body can switch out different minerals or elements based on the tone or the frequency. So, and it gets really deep, so I won't go into a lot of it here, but the body has a natural alchemical process. Our being, or whatever the energy that we are, naturally can heal us, the consciousness, without even doing a whole lot physically. And I think that's where so-called medicine, natural medicine, needs to focus, is on supporting the natural process by actually knowing that it occurs or knowing that it's possible. So yeah, I just wanted to use that as an example because the body knows what it's doing. Your energy knows what it's doing. It's those belief systems that create distortions and allow us to behave or make choices in a way that may not. in our best possible interest, like taking a certain actual pharmaceutical drug, an injection, and introducing toxins into our system. So we have to really get back to basics of knowing that the body is healing, whether we realize it or not, in everything that it does every single day. Your body is taking care of itself. We simply have to support it in the cues that we get, in the intuitive hints that we get, what we are guided to do in every moment of every day. If that's rest for you for even a few weeks at a time, maybe months, years, you have to follow the cues that your body is giving you, and not the demands or the metrics that some other person places upon you. Because that's another big one that I've been noticing is practitioners kind of overstepping the boundaries of someone else, their autonomy, their free will, if you will, choices that, yes, we can kind of ask them questions to make them reflect and think about their choices, but we cannot tell somebody what to do. Like, okay, you need to leave your spouse by such and such date. You need to move out of your house. You need to quit your job. You need to do this or that. They have to make that decision themselves. If they're not comfortable making that, that's not for you to say, well, you're not going to get better. That's just not how it works. And I think that further distorts people's experience. So I think practitioners have to be really careful on what we say, how we interact with people, and allow people to make their own choices. That's the bottom line. If a practitioner is in this to just make money from people, then they might want to go do that elsewhere in a different type of industry. There's lots of them out there that just make money and ruin people's lives. So I think that we have to start really being responsible and accountable for our words and how we influence others. And there's ways to discuss the importance of certain things and how they may be impacting the health of somebody, but we don't have to tell them what to do. They can figure that out themselves. They already know. So it's important not to overstep those boundaries with people, and to imprint or influence people in those ways, because there's so many people out there who feel that just because you have a certain title, oh, you're the authority, you know what you're talking about, I'm just gonna act like I'm a people pleaser, and I'll do this in my life just to please you. And it may not be that they're there at that point in their life, and then some other choices can come from those choices that might be difficult for that person, and they weren't ready. So then it might fall on other people's shoulders, and so we just have to be more cautious and tactful on how we assist people. Let me see if that was all that I wanted to talk about. I think so. So, with that, let's see if there's anything else that pops in that needs. And that, yeah, just another thing that I've been noticing is the whole greed and money aspect and wanting to provide certain services that are very close to, in the naturopathic or natural health field, very close to what the medical field does with their testing certain things. And there's a lot of integrative practitioners who are coming in to the holistic field, and they're still practicing in a lot of the modern medicine or allopathic medicine ways. And that kind of goes back to deprogramming ourselves, not having gone through the awakening process of a lot of this stuff isn't actually correct. In resonating with what is actually true and what's actually going on. So I see a lot of that going on, and people, a lot of practitioners wanting clients to do these $200, $300, $500 tests when that test is just a snapshot of time, a snapshot of blood, or saliva or stool or whatever it is, and it's not accurate. I'm sorry, but no blood test, anything, the assumptions about how the body works, everything is not accurate. So I wouldn't want people wasting a bunch of money that right now, when everything's really tight financially, I wouldn't want people wasting money on that. I would rather have them doing fun things for themselves that bring them joy, and buying healthy, nutritious foods, and spending it other ways. So I think the greed manipulation aspect of the naturopathic and holistic industry has gotten kind of away from them. It's pretty rampant, and I've had experience myself with certain practitioners doing the same thing. So I think you just want to be cautious with who you're working with and make sure you feel comfortable. If any practitioner makes you uncomfortable, is forcing certain demands or stipulations, metrics on you, then it's important to find somebody who you feel comfortable with to work with. And just know that you're capable of all of this by listening to your own intuition. A lot of times the practitioners are just kind of a reflection of that knowledge that you already hold. So we're not anything special or no more. We're just a reflection of the knowledge that already is. So with that, I will see you all next time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.